What up, guys? Welcome to Harry Dating Combos. This is the show where you learn how to be the best version of yourself as possible so you can get the women out there that you truly desire. I'm your host, as always, Harry Wilmington, and today is my birthday. Happy birthday to me. So I decided I'd do a stream today, and I wanted to talk about the idea of finding the one and how it can actually ruin your chances at love and at being a good dater. And so I'm going to actually be answering a question from a guy that wrote me in the comments section, and it'll lead into that topic. And I have some other things I want to read that correlates to this topic so you can get a better understanding of why it is that you as a dater should always have an abundant mindset versus thinking there's only one person out there for you. So with that said, let's get into today's show. And as always, this show is brought to you by my website, harrywilmington.com. If you are in need of one-on-one coaching or you want to get some programs that can actually educate you, elevate your dating game, and help you figure out once and for all the world of women, then go to harrywilmington.com. Check out my ebooks, audiobooks, and this wonderful program as well. As always, this show is brought to you by Get Girls Academy, my exclusive program designed to help you attract, date, and keep the women you want. As a member, you'll gain access to proven strategies, insider tips, and bi-monthly group coaching sessions where we tackle your biggest questions live. Click the link in the description to learn more and join today. So yeah, you can get all that stuff and more at harrywilmington.com. You can also like this video, subscribe to this channel, and become a member as well. We would love to have you. And of course, share this with anybody you know. So, sorry. While that was playing, I was running to get water, so I'm winded. So I want to talk about, there was an interesting comment that I got from somebody underneath one of my videos. And I did a live recently called Dating, Relationships, and Making Big Deals Out of Nothing. And so this guy left a comment under that video that I thought would be good for a little deep diving and exploration. So his comment said, hey, Harry, I truly appreciate your advice. Sometimes I just watch your videos as a wake-up call and as a self-note to be real. Just curious, with the abundance mindset, is there ever a chance to settle down, make compromises, and find your someone till death does us part? Or is that just something that happens in movies? I'd love to hear your viewpoint on this topic. So I talk a lot on this show about this idea of having an abundant mindset. And it's the mind state and mind frame that at the end of the day, in terms of your dating choices, that you actually have access to a variety of different types of women who would actually work with you. But sometimes men will believe the lie that we've all been taught by Hollywood and by music and etc., that there's only one person out there for you and that the ultimate goal is to find the one. Now, I understand on a logical level what that's supposed to mean. It's supposed to be this idea really that like once you married somebody, ideally, if you're marrying that person, you're going to be with them for life. So the thought process is that you're finding a person that you can work with for a long period of time up until you die. But what that's been twisted into is that, no, it's not that you'll just find a person and then make that one person work. It's that you only have one person that is ever going to be possible to work with in life. And when men go into the dating game with that as their goal, to just find the one that's supposed to be destined for me and one that's supposed to be my end all be all, it can cause a lot of problems. And so I want to answer his question from that perspective and really deep dive into it, because I think that as you get better educated, it's going to actually help you in the long run. So let me just pull up my notes here real quick here. Okay, so to start off with, let's talk about the idea of the one. You know, there is a lot of pressure that comes behind a woman being your quote end all be all that you may not be aware that you're actually putting on to women, because the idea that only one person can be out there to satisfy all your romantic needs, all your sexual needs, all your friendship needs, etc., it's very big and bold. And that can cause a lot of overwhelm for guys, because we'll end up going out with women, and rather than making it a fun experience, it'll be this pressure cooker of a thing where the person in front of me said yes to a date. Therefore, there's a good chance they're probably the one. And so I now got to ask all the questions, and I got to turn this into a serious situation where I'm asking her, questions about her life and what she wants and what she doesn't want. And every answer has got to be the right one, or else it's not going to work out. And she has to be 100% of what I want. And that's a romanticized idea. Like that, the idea again that Hollywood and movies show, where it's like they find that one person, and it's everything they've ever dreamed about, and that's the only person they can make it work with. That's just not reality. But because men sometimes live in that reality, it can cause us to place undue pressure on just the dating aspect of stuff, on our relationships, and on the women we're trying to get with. The other thing that it does is that the idea of the one limits your choices by default, because it's going to lead you to think that if you have a true belief that the person in front of you, whether you just went on a first date with them, or whether you've been dating them for 2 or 3 years, if your mind frame is that, yep, they're the absolute end all be all, you may be unaware that you could actually end up settling for a person that is wrong for you simply because you think they're the one. I know this happens a lot with guys, for example, that are from the church, from the church life, right? Where they'll feel like, they prayed and prayed and prayed for God to bring them that one mate. And then they meet this girl in the church, and they're thinking like, oh, this must be the person God brought to me. So this must be the one that it has to work with. And what happens is that woman may have flaws. She may have a lot of traumas. She may not actually be all that interested in the dude, but because he's thinking, oh, she's the one that God brought to me, this has to be it, then even when she starts showing red flags, you might still be thinking, but I know that she's the one, and so therefore I have to pick her. And it creates this kind of like tunnel vision where you're not either, even if she is showing signs that she's not really a woman that's well put together, your blinders are going to be on to where either you don't see that or you see it and you ignore it as if it's not going to be a thing that hinders your marriage long term, because if she's the one, she's going to eventually turn into that perfect partner, even if right now you're not seeing that be all the way true. Okay. And so you as a guy really got to have your head on straight and have on your thinking cap and have your lens viewed in a way where you're able to see what's actually going on and not what your mind wants to see, because you could end up picking the wrong person simply because you're thinking of the limited concept that this one is one. The fact that there's about 8 billion people on the earth, half of those are women, half of those are straight, and a good portion of those aren't yet married, means that there are a wide variety of women that could actually work with you in a long-term relationship. And here's the kicker also. Even if you think the woman in front of you is the one, you then have to consider, but are you currently the person that you need to be to even make that work? Because you could have the right person in front of you and be doing the wrong things and cause her to go to somebody else. Now, men do that all the time. When that happens, though, instead of thinking, oh, I lost the one, I can never have anybody again because she was the one and she got away, that's where men get stuck, is they think that if I don't get this woman, I get nobody. And that's the result of having limited beliefs about your ability to attract other women. Whereas if you have an abundant mindset, it opens you to the possibility that, yes, other women out there would also work for you, okay? So let me get into real quick what we are talking about when we talk about abundant mindset, okay? So very simply put, an abundant mindset in dating is the belief that there are plenty of opportunities available to you for meaningful connections. And you may not be aware that that's actually true right now, but if you get outside of yourself and start really observing your day-to-day interactions when you're out and about in the world, you will find a surprising number of women actually would work with you in scenarios. I just got back from the mall because it's my birthday, so I went to the mall. I get a whole bunch of freebies on my birthday. I've signed up for all the food apps that I can possibly sign up for. So I went and got like a free Wetzel's pretzel, and I went and got a free Starbucks dessert, right? So in my travels, just going from my apartment to the mall and back, I was on a bus. I walked through a food court. I went to Wetzel's Pretzels, and then I had to go to a Starbucks, and then I rode the bus back and from. So I got back on the bus, right? So within that span, those are like 4 opportunities for me to potentially run into somebody in a real situation, whether I'm talking to the cashier that looks kind of cute, whether I'm talking to the barista, whether I'm walking through the mall and I see somebody walking by, whether I go to like the Best Buy to check out video games and ask one of the people there that's a woman about, like, there's already scenarios set up where I could potentially meet women or talk to them, right? And then you figure, let's say tonight I'm going to a birthday party or some kind of event. I don't know where I'm going yet. I'm being surprised by that. But suffice to say, who knows when you go out and about, whether you get invited to parties, whether you get invited to like friend hangouts or dinners, like who you're going to be able to talk to. And in those scenarios, if you keep your mind frame abundant, you will start to see opportunities where women are coming to you, having a good time talking to you, and you can actually start to see like a little glimmer in their eye that's like, oh, if I asked her for her number, she'd probably give it to me. Oh, if I said, do you want to hang out next week? She'd probably say yes. But most guys are so closed off because they're thinking, A, that they have a low self-esteem about themselves and how they look and how their lifestyle is. So where they're not even going out there looking. And then even if they are, they're thinking, but I got to find one. So if you go to a party, for example, and you see 3 girls there that are all attractive and are seemingly hitting on you, if your concept is I only have one girl out there, then you're not going to notice that these 2 other girls also are interested in you, and that you could probably date all 3 of them and get to know them before making a decision about who you want to date. And so you got to understand that when you have a limited mindset, then it prevents you from really being your best self. And more importantly, when you have an abundant mindset, it's actually going to allow you to not have desperation, and it's going to actually make you a more confident person. And I get, for some of you guys, if you're early in the dating game or haven't had a lot of success at dating, then this may be a hard thing to fathom right now. The idea that like, wait, more than one girl would actually date you? Yes, that is possible. But again, this goes to, you have to have the skill set and the knowledge of how women work. And you have to know how to show up in a way that more women than not are going to desire you. Because I found once I was able to figure that out, then I could walk into a party and see like 4 or 5 women and be like, I could probably talk to like 3 of them here and probably like make out with them, get their number, whatever. But that started with me having to do the work of building up my confidence. And there are exercises you can do to do that. You can go to harrywilmington.com right now and sign up for coaching, or sign up for the Get Girls Academy. We got a bunch of video programs in there and audios in there that will start giving you the confidence to better know women and better know what to do when you're dating them, so that way you can foster that attraction, and you'll start to realize, oh, I have the skills to actually build a connection with more than just one woman. And that'll also help you, because here's the thing, right? If you don't have an abundant mindset, even if you end up getting a girlfriend, all you're going to be worried about is, what can I do to not lose this girl? Because this girl has to work out. And my ego can't handle her walking away. So I got to now double my efforts. And I've seen too many guys that they're able to get into a relationship. And then let's say they were following my stuff. All of a sudden, it's like those principles go out the window. And it's like, oh, now I'm anxious and nervous. And oh, now I want to text her all the time. And oh, she's not coming over as much. And it's like, that is not the stance of a person that has an abundant mindset. Okay. Now, the benefits also of having an abundant mindset: 1, it'll help you avoid staying in unhealthy or unfulfilling relationships. You have to ask yourself, have you ever been a guy that you were with a woman and you could start to see it not working? Maybe she was getting an attitude or not being nice to you or whatever. And you knew that this woman was no longer an effective partner, but because she was the one, you thought you had to make it work. Like, you have to do all the things. You've heard about how, women think that guys aren't willing to talk things out and work on communication. So you're thinking you're doing all that stuff and it's still not getting better. But because you have a limited mindset and you're thinking, well, she hooked up with me and she said yes to a date, so she has to be the one. So I got to make this work. I've tried to tell you guys, it's good if you know what to do to get a woman and to be able to keep maintaining her interest and stuff like that. But relationships aren't hard. Let me say this again. Relationships aren't hard. We make them hard. And so if a woman's coming to you with trauma and is trying to like fight you all the time or whatnot, and you're trying to, on your side of things, be calm about it and trying to like talk to her and see where she's coming from, and she's still being a tyrant, I got news for you. You could do all the work in the world. If she's not willing to do the work, that's making it hard. People with an abundant mindset would see that and be like, oh, this isn't serving me anymore, and I'm out. And I've had women that I dated for like 10 months, a year, 2 years, and things were going great for a minute. And then things started to get tumultuous. And then I start to see like, oh, this person argues a lot. This person yells. This person doesn't want to hear me. This person's into some toxic stuff. And I don't fall for the whole time sunken cost fallacy of like, well, it's been 2 years, so I got to make it work. No, I don't. Like if in 2 years, I'm like, oh, this actually isn't really like being an effective situation now. And we're not married, so bump it. I get out. And then if I was married, I would say this: if you're getting married, it's coming to that point. I don't like the idea of divorce, but I know it has to come to that sometimes. But even then, dudes will stay in relationships for like 20, 30, 40 years. Like, well, I've already signed up for this, and this is all I got, and we have kids now, and this and that. And I'm like, no, because abundant mindset would be like, I don't have to accept this behavior. But the interesting part about having an abundant mindset is that when you have it, one, you're more likely to attract a higher quality partner who respects you and values you. And number two, more importantly, is that when you have an abundant mindset, the women you're dating can get the feeling tone that you have no problem leaving the relationship if things aren't going your way. And that is the kind of feeling tone that women actually need to have for you, because they need to, on some level, understand that you do have boundaries and there are lines that can be crossed that you aren't willing to accept. And women, they'll date guys that they can walk all over, but they don't respect those guys. And then they usually end up either leaving those guys anyway or cheating on those guys for guys that they actually respect, for guys that will actually put them in the place. And the guys that'll put them in their place will do that because they have the self-confidence to know that if you don't want to get on my program and treat me with respect, I can definitely find other people, okay? So you got to be understanding that, right? Like you having this limited mindset of, oh, I can only find one person out there is not going to serve you in a way that's positive to women. So in reference to this guy's question, he said he wanted to know, can you have an abundant mindset and settle down? Basically like, is that going to be a hindrance? Let me make sure I get his words correct. Right. He said, with the abundance mindset, is there ever a chance to settle down, make compromises, and find you're someone till death does us part? And so here's the answer to that, right? Is that for one, with an abundant mindset, yes, there is definitely a chance of settling down. Having an abundant mindset is not about not settling down. It's about understanding that with an abundant mindset, you're putting yourself in a position perfectly to let women know that you are to be respected, and that, again, if the relationship's not going the way you want it to go, then you do not have a problem saying, you know what, this isn't working for me and I'm out. So ideally what's going to happen is you're going to be respected more as a result of having your abundant mindset. So that doesn't mean you can't make compromises. What it does mean, though, is that you're going to be a person that's like, look, if something's going wrong in our relationship, then we can sit down, we can talk about it. I'll listen to you, you listen to me. We won't interrupt each other. We're going to be able to have those hard talks. I'm not going to take it personally. I'm going to be able to hear what you have to say and then respond and then figure out a way we can come to some kind of conclusion. And sometimes it'll be harmonious at the end. Sometimes we'll disagree to disagree, and it is what it is. But these are the boundaries and parameters of how that's going to happen. I'm not going to take yelling. I'm not going to take disrespect. I'm not going to take you calling me out my name. I'm not going to have you blaming me for every single thing when there's two of us here. And if it's something that's more my end of things, I'll be willing to cop up to that. But we're going to do this process respectfully. And if you can't handle that, then I'm out of here. So yeah, you can have an abundant mindset and still make compromises. Ideally, what's going to happen is you're going to get in a relationship with somebody who's going to respect you, and it's going to be mutually beneficial. But again, they need to know that you are not going to handle any kind of disrespect. I tell women all the time, I don't take sarcasm well. Like if somebody's joking on me, like, oh, you're just so blah, 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 you're so stupid. Like even in a joking manner, I don't like that. I don't like when like my friends are joking on me and then my woman jumps in and tries to joke on me too. Like, no. I don't like them doing it either, but you're on my team, so you cannot join up with them. Like I make those rules abundantly clear. And if the women mess up, I say, hey, just a reminder, I don't like this. I don't like that. Oh, okay, no problem. My bad. Like, because, and then here's the thing too, a man that's able to put forth boundaries is a man that a woman will get this feeling sense from, that she can't mess around too badly because he will actually leave. If women don't feel as though you as a guy will actually leave, then they will walk all over you. They will disrespect you. They will call you out your name. They will make everything your fault and have all the arguments be your fault. And she's blaming you for stuff that you didn't do. And I got news for you. A lot of guys get into that situation. And it sucks because there are times when, like, you know, hey, as guys, we mess up, we make mistakes, and so we got to own those, right? But there are some times that women are doing that strictly to try to get control of the situation that is not warranted and is not fair to you, you know? So just wanted to put that out there. Let me see what else I got here. Hold on a second here. Let's see what else I got here. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Okay. So another thing I want to talk about here is that in terms of compromising, and, you know, there's this feeling sometimes from guys that, like, if they compromise ever, a woman's like taking control of the situation and is now the leader of the situation. And that's not what this is about, because the reality is, like, healthy relationships are going to require give and take. There's going to be some times when she's right and you're not, and vice versa. There's going to be times where you're going to come to the table and need to talk about something that is really not, you know, something she wants to compromise on, and you're still gonna have to compromise on something anyway, right? So it's not necessarily about that, but understand that your self-worth does not need to be compromised as a result of that. Like, it's okay for her to disagree with you. It's okay for you to not agree with her and want to handle situations some other way, but you don't want to fall to the place where a woman feels as though she can just walk all over you and you lose your self-worth as a result of that, okay? Because again, like I said, women are willing to respect men who are willing to walk away. So with that said, how do you then handle this kind of balance? Because the idea is that, you know, you want to be a guy that has an abundant mindset, but you also want to make your partner feel as though they are special, right? So here's how that works. Basically, in a nutshell, in terms of you having an abundant mindset, this is why it's good for you guys early on when you're in the early dating process to leave yourself open to being able to date multiple women. Like, when you first meet a girl on a dating app, you should be dating her and possibly 2 or 3 other people. We want to get you into the feeling tone of what having choice actually feels like. Right now, you may be a guy that's actually scared of that. Like, this idea that, wait, I can date multiple people and women won't get mad at me for that. Sometimes they will. But most women I found in the beginning are already also themselves dating like 2 or 3 other people. Like, if you think that you met a girl on a dating app and you are going on the first date with her and that she's made a decision about you, I got news for you. She would have a date with you tonight, and 2 days from now, she has a date with somebody else, and then maybe Sunday, she has a 3rd date. That's just how that goes. But women have been brought up to believe that they are the ones that choose. So, or that guys are going to come to them trying to like show appreciation and try to, you know, woo them and stuff like that. So they've grown up with the idea that multiple men are going to try to be their suitors, and therefore it behooves them to try to look at all those offers to make the best choice. Men have been taught, oh, find one girl and make her your all in, all be all. If you date more than one girl at a time, then you're a misogynist and you're whatever. And that's a lie we bought into, that you don't have to. So first off is practice getting into the feel of having an abundant mindset. And what that'll also do is that as you're dating multiple women, your brain will start to realize, oh, you know what? A lot of girls are actually willing to date me. Like, there are a lot of women out there that are different races, different backgrounds, different socioeconomic statuses that have said yes to a date with me. So I can, in fact, go out there and find a woman that I like. And if I know how to do the right things, I can actually, like, get her to go on a date with me, get her to hook up with me, get her to be in a relationship. Why is this important? Because if you do that enough times early on in your dating process, then what you'll find is as you get to be an older dater, you won't have to date multiple women at one time to still have the mindset that if this woman doesn't work out, and if this woman who I'm hoping could be the one ends up not being the one, no harm, no foul. There's other women out there. And that's the key. Too many men don't have the mindset that they can actually get other women. And so having that mindset, it doesn't, in my experience, it has not hindered me from wanting to find one person to settle down with. It's just, I know that I will never look at that particular person as the one end all be all. I think about stuff like this. If she dies, if she goes away, if she decides this is not for her, realistically, life doesn't care that I'm sad about it. All life cares about is what are you going to do next? And so I know that if the woman in front of me at the moment is the one that's working out with, and we're together for like 20, 30 years, fantastic. That's great. I will never look at that one as the one Because again, and this is part of my growing up. My dad died when I was 9, so I know that things can just happen. My mom was married for 13 years before he passed away. Never did anybody again. And for her, my dad was the one, right? And I always thought, like, I care for my mom immensely, and I felt that she had so much love to give that it seemed very limiting to date nobody else after my dad's death, And so I look at that, like, my brother's been married for a long time. If his wife dies, heaven forbid, they got kids or whatever like that, I would hope he would think there's somebody else out there. And I think people also get this idea that, they try to hype up the idea of the person with them being the one, because on some level, it's like, would it hurt their feelings if I thought that I could potentially find somebody else that's not them that I could also make it work with? And some people take that very personally, like trying to tell a woman, if a woman comes to you and says, hey, am I your end all be all? You saying to her, no, not really. I can find somebody else if you don't work out. Like, that's really insulting to say out loud, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't have that mindset, because again, you don't know what life's going to bring your way. And so the ultimate goal is that the person you're with, you do the best you can to make it work as effectively and efficiently as possible with this person. You show them the love they need. You take them out. You have a good time. You're putting the work in. You guys get married. You have kids, whatever, right? That's all very positive and good to do. But there should always be a part of you that's like, but if this doesn't work out, I have the knowledge and the know-how to know that I can go out there and find somebody else again. I can find love again. If she dies or whatever, I can go out there and eventually find love again. Because there are too many dudes that, like, their woman dies, then they have a heart attack, or they want to commit, they want to unalive themselves. And it's like, all for what? Like, you still have life here that you're living. That person went away. You built memories. It is what it is. But, like, realistically, you're still here. You still have your own love to give and ways you want to feel support for other people. That's still an option. So I want you to have an abundant mindset, but still go in knowing that you're going to do the best you can with the person in front of you. And then she's going to hopefully do her best. And then if it ends up that that's not the case, I don't want you to fall to pieces because, oh my God, the one didn't work out. Like, realistically, that could happen. But hopefully you're open to the idea and you have the feeling and know-how that that there's chances for you to find love again should this not work out. Now, if you have had a hard time up to this point building up that kind of mindset, you can go to harrywilmington.com. You can sign up for the Get Girls Academy, and we can get you on a pathway towards modifying your mindset in a way to where you're more confident, you're more able to go out there, to put yourself out there with women, and you're able to see and feel that women across the board will want you. And that's also in part because as you learn more things about attraction and how women work and what they look for when you guys are approaching them and taking them out, then you'll realize, and this is what women don't like men to say, so hold on with me for a second. You will learn that a fair amount of women are the same. And because a fair amount of them are the same, most of them want the same things from their guy. It may be they want it in a different package, but in terms of things like a guy that can listen, a guy that they can, lean on when they're going through stuff, a guy that's stronger than them and is able to protect them, like those things across the board, easy peasy. Some of the harder things are like a guy that knows how to actually communicate, a guy that knows how to listen to them. Those are things that, like, women have complained about forever and a day. I found most of my success on dates was like, I went on a date and then I spent 70% of the time asking them about themselves. And I would interject my stories here and there, but most of the time I'd ask them stories about their life and I'd let them talk. That's what most women want. And so part of me having an abundant mindset is having that skill set that I know how to go on dates and talk to women in a way that by the end of it, they're going to be like, oh, he let me talk. Most guys that I go out with don't talk. And there's so many other secrets like that you can find out about on my YouTube channel at Harry Wilmington, as well as at harrywilmington.com. All right. So suffice to say, guys, hopefully that helps you out in terms of like this idea about abundant mindset. It does not have to be a limiting thing. And actually, the last thing I want to leave you with is this. I saw this thing on Reddit. And let me make sure this is the right one here, because there's this guy that was on Reddit that recently had a breakup with his girlfriend. Here we go. Okay. Yeah. So this guy wrote on in the breakups tab many, many months ago. His question was, did you really end up finding someone better than your ex? So already we can tell he was pedestalizing the ex, thinking she was the end all be all, right? So he says, I'm writing this because I'm heartbroken and can't sleep. My girlfriend broke up with me a month ago. I have been doing 30-day no contact with the intention of hoping she will miss me and come back. However, she removed me on Instagram. Okay, let's pause here. So he's trying to go no contact in hopes that she's going to reach out. So she ends up removing him from Instagram. Now, at the point that she does that, what do you think this guy did next? Did he A, say, oh, she blocked me, I'm going to leave her alone? Did he B, cry in pain in his house and be like, oh, well, I guess I'll just leave her alone? Or C, did he try to contact her through some other means? What do you think happened? Well, let's see. She removed me on Instagram, so I messaged her 22 days of no contact, and she said, I need to move on, and there is no way of making this work. I also want to add in, please, 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 guys, for you guys that are out there doing no contact, you're getting it wrong. This guy was like, okay, I'm going to go 30 days of no contact, and then I'm going to contact her after 30 days. No contact is permanent. It's the idea that you yourself are not going to do any more reaching out to her. If she happens to end up reaching out to you, whether it's in 20 days, 40 days, 60 days, then if you're at the point where you still kind of want her back, you can respond. But no contact is meant for you to actually legitimately move on. And this also speaks to abundant mindset. Guys put in this, I'm going to go 30 days no contact and then reach out to her again because she's the one I have to make it work with and she's the only one. And you should have an abundant mindset. I've had girls in my past that, for whatever reason, they kind of tapered off. And remember, like early on when I first learned about no contact, and again, I was thinking, okay, I won't contact her for like 2 or 3 weeks, and then I'll reach out. And the person I was studying up under was like, no contact is permanent. But if you go no contact permanently, they may start to miss you, and they might reach out. So I said, that sounds stupid, but nothing else I'm doing is working, so I'll give it a shot. Sure enough, 2 months later, hey, Harry, how you doing? Hope your trip's going well. I really, really miss you. Hit me up when you get back. What did I actually do in that scenario to make anything happen? Nothing. I left her the freak alone. But what that did is that makes the woman think, oh, I thought he was all hung up on me, but he doesn't seem to be hung up on me. Maybe I should give him a shot, because women don't want you making them the one. Like, let me rephrase that. In a scenario where she has a crush on you, yes, she wants to be the person that you choose. But she doesn't want the pressure of her now being the end all be all, because even in relationships, you should have other friends and other family to go to when she needs a break from you. Yes, healthy women will need a break from you. The ones that are obsessed with you, look out for them, because they might not want you to go anywhere. And that becomes like a bit of a problem, because like I've had guy friends that got married to women who are like, oh, you can't go visit Harry because blah, 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 blah. Like, because it's all about if she's not there, then nothing can happen. So that's also toxicity on their side of things, right? Anyway, so this guy, she said, there's no way of making it work. He says, at first I was healing, but after she said that, I was upset. During those 22 days when I was healing, I decided to put myself out there and begin talking to new girls, as he should. I have gone on dates with 3 girls. I don't know, but every time I go on these dates thinking it will help me move on and find new love, I just end up thinking of her, because again, she's the one. I always compare my ex to them and think that she's better. And this is where we talk about having the blinders on, because I can assure you, she probably had some toxic things she was doing that this dude just wasn't seeing because he was so in love. And this is why I say, if it's a choice between a woman being more in love or the guy, it should be the woman, because guys get blinded. They start making dumb mistakes, and then women lose interest because you look like you're unstable, and women don't want unstable people. Anyway, he says, I think it's safe to say my ex really gave my high standards now. She was really pretty and even better personality. Only way I can completely move on is if I can really find a girl better than my ex, which is very difficult, as it's hard to find both a good-looking girl and amazing personality. Well, no, it's not. But the problem is most men do not put themselves out there to be viewed by enough women to be able to see that they have an abundance of options. So if you're a guy, for example, that you spend your whole day on YouTube watching videos about how dating sucks and how women are bullcrap and whatever, and you're just at home all day, and then maybe you go to work and you're back home and then you're on your phone. Think about when you go out in the world that most people are looking at the phone like this. How are you going to meet women around you when you're looking at your phone like this? It's not going to happen. So as you get out into the world, you see things, you interact with the world, surprise, surprise, more women will come into your view and you'll realize, oh, there's a bunch of great women out here. There are so many single women that don't have kids that I could actually get with. Anyway, he says, I keep thinking that if time will ever come, I keep going on dating apps and actual dates, but always compare those girls to her. The main question I want to ask all of you is, have you ever found someone better than your ex when you thought you would never at first? And the answer is yes. But to be fair, if you're a guy that's early on in the dating game, you're not going to see that or feel that because you only have the experience of getting like one or two women. And so therefore, you don't have the idea or the feeling tone that you could actually get more women. Now, again, I just turned 43 today. Happy birthday to me. So at this point, I have a history to where I know I can get other women. All right. And so whether I choose to be in a long-term relationship or not, I'm not ever thinking this long-term relationship is my end all be all. It's got to work out. If she disrespects me, I still got to make it work. Oh my God. Like I think this person I'm with, love them to death, want to be with them. If it goes the distance, we end up getting married or whatever. But I also know, and that she knows, that I in part, the respect should be there at all times. Because if it's not, I know other options out there that I can go get, whether they're currently available to me or whether I have to go find them on a dating app or go back out there and do negotiating. It's like the point is that I know and have the feeling tone that can happen. So I don't spend my days worrying or being anxious about making the wrong decision or saying the wrong thing or whatever, because at the end of the day, I know, and the person that I could potentially be with knows, I'm showing up respectfully and doing the best I can. If my efforts for them aren't that great, or if they start disrespecting my efforts, I ain't got to stay. And so that's why I don't ever look at women now as like this one woman's 100% better than this other woman. I look at all women in an equal way, which is that this woman over here is treating me great for now, but this woman over here could also treat me great. So she may stand out, but this one could also potentially stand out. I look at it like that's where I don't put women on a hierarchy or a pedestal anymore. And so I find that as you get rid of the idea of pedestalizing any woman you're with, like women you're dating, you should see them as great, but not the end all be all great, not higher than you, none of that stuff. And women themselves don't want that. Women don't want the pressure of having to be your perfect one. Okay. And men do that too many times and then chase women away. So hopefully that answers that guy's question. But what's interesting is I scrolled in Reddit, you can say, you can sort the comments by whatever. So I said, sort by the newest comment. Somebody wrote, bro, I wandered the subreddit and I wandered through the subreddit and saw your topics. Are there any updates on your life? So this guy wrote this message, the message I just read you guys 9 months ago. And then so this other guy commented 2 months ago and the original poster responded. And guess what he said? He said, hey there, just an update. I met a new girl and I can say for sure she's the best girl ever. God, still, okay. At first I was questioning, but as time went by, I'm so grateful to have her. Anything a boyfriend can ask for. Pretty, affectionate, caring, funny, everything. Though we did just get into an argument right now, I'm actually mainly because of lack of communication. We talked it out though, and I hope that she still loves me as much as I love her. So anytime I hear guys say like it's a lack of communication, what that reads as is that there is some form of, because people think it's about talking communication, but it's not. More of the time, it's about interpretation and understanding of communication. So when people have communication disagreements, people think, well, I said the things and then I heard what she said and she heard this and that, but it doesn't matter about what's being said. It matters about interpretation. Your viewpoint of the world and her viewpoint of the world are completely different based on how you guys were raised. And so sometimes what guys need to understand is that sometimes the way we say things she may have heard the words we said, but she's not going to take it in the same way that we mean it. That's why you got to get better at like really perfectly wording what you're saying, not perfectly wording, but like being able to better say what you're trying to say in a way that she gets, but also understanding how women take in communication so you can talk to them on their level. For example, one of the things I've mentioned on this show is that when I'm with a woman and, we're making decisions about stuff or seeing things, I always say the word we, like, hey, what do we think of that? Or what do we want to have for dinner? It's a small communication tick, but women use the word we all the time because they want to feel connected to their partner. So I know if I'm with a woman and I want her to feel more connected to me, I use the word we when I'm talking to her. And so because I know that, I know other things about women. So when I'm in a disagreement, I know, hey, for example, as a guy, if I'm talking to another guy and we're in a disagreement, I can be direct. And I know that because there's no emotional stakes there, they're not going to take personally what I'm saying. So I'm going to just say the direct thing because we need to have each other's communication be that straight, right? But what guys do sometimes with women, they go to women and try to speak like 100% direct versus using passive language that they're going to get. Like, men think we got to be so direct with women or else they're not going to understand us. And sometimes your directness is too harsh, whereas you being a bit more passive in your language, she's going to use her natural skill to pick up on that and know exactly what you're talking about, okay? So just something to know. And I got a whole 7-part audio series in my Get Girls Academy called 7 Steps to Better Communication with Women that talks about this kind of stuff. But anyway, he says, but yeah, I can for sure say there's always someone better out there for you. Just focus on improving yourself overall, and eventually the right girl will come along. I'm grateful that my ex ended it, because if it weren't for her ending it, I wouldn't have met such an amazing girl. Now, I applaud the dude for doing that, but let's again, he's already with the current girl that he's with now, already kind of like, saying, oh, she's the perfect blah, 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 blah. And it's not that that's a bad thing. We want women to come along that are different from other women in terms of them being able to actually sit down and communicate and do for us and take us out on dates at times and stuff like that's all great. But I don't want you to think there's only one girl out there that'll do that. The reality, because again, this girl that you're with, God forbid she live a long time, or she could die, or she could pick up and leave, or say, hey, I'm going back with my ex because he got his stuff together. And if that happens, you still got to be like, I can find somebody else. So again, as great as this girl sounds, even if I was with this guy and I was with this girl, I would not be pedestalizing her like, oh, she's better than the ex because she hooks up with me all the time and makes me dinners. That's fantastic. But there's other girls out there that will also do that. And that's good to know, because that way, if this girl starts tripping, I won't feel like I got to get stuck with this person. And again, this doesn't mean that in a regular relationship, you're not going to have fights or disagreements or arguments or times where you don't want to talk to each other. Like, that's still relatively normal stuff, but we want the respect level to be there. We want her overall general attitude to be positive, to be supportive of you. And if you find that starts to lack and you're trying to work through it and nothing's happening, don't think that there aren't others out there. I assure you that there are, as this guy found out. He thought his ex was the end all be all, and he's devastated. He's trying to break no contact and all this other stuff, thinking he's got to make it work. No, somebody else came along, because he's learning now that, yes, there will be others out there that are ready to pick up the slack if the girl that you think is the one doesn't end up being the one, So hopefully that answers that guy's question. I think you can have an abundant mindset and still settle down with somebody, and it's actually better because she's going to feel that you're ready to leave. She'll respect you a lot more, and she'll want to stick around for the long haul. So yeah. Thank you very much, guys. So that's pretty much all I had in terms of that message. If you guys had any questions before I get out of here, I am more than happy to answer them. Like I said, I'm going to be doing birthday things later today, but I do not know what they are yet. So I kind of just got a free day at home, working on some other projects and whatnot, but wanted to come on here and do a stream for you guys because I thought that lesson was important for you guys to hear. And if there's no questions, then I will bid you all adieu. Thank you guys so much. Thank you guys, by the way. 43, I've been doing this. I started my journey as a dating coach when I was 22, when I wrote my first book, No Girls For You, The Ultimate Guide to Losing the Girl of Your Dreams, which is still available on my website. I'm actually in the process of updating it now. I'm adding a couple of new chapters because when I wrote the book, for example, social media didn't exist. Texting wasn't really a big thing. And so those are just 2 more ways that guys are able to lose women, and online dating also. So I'm adding chapters to that book about those things, and I'm putting it out in a paperback form as well as an ebook form. So that's coming as well. But so I've been doing this now since 2004. And, I find at times, I just continue to like to help guys out. I like being able to help you guys figure out and navigate the dating world. And so if I've been able to help you in your travels of trying to figure out women, then, I appreciate you coming to me to look for that guidance. And I hope you guys will continue to follow and support and, like the videos and subscribe and get all the stuff. But ultimately, I want you to do all that stuff for you, because if I can give you any kind of knowledge about women that's going to help you get rid of your anxiousness or be able to know how to approach women or how to talk to them or how not to talk to them, then I feel like I've done my job, So that's all I got for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you're just tuning in now, the stream's about to be over, so rewind back and watch this whole thing. It's worth watching. I'll catch you guys later. Hey there, thanks for tuning in to Harry Dating Convos. Don't forget to visit harrywilmington.com to download my free ebook, Texting Women Like a Boss. And while you're there, if you're ready to take things to the next level with your dating life, check out the Get Girls Academy membership program for exclusive strategies and live coaching. Go to harrywilmington.com to learn more and join today. Lastly, if you've got a question you'd like answered on one of these shows, leave a comment below or write me at harrywilmington@gmail.com. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.